one thing I would like to say before I put on my slides, just a very brief context setting for this entire program that we are doing. One, that I am not an expert and I'm not a teacher of Ho'oponopono. Whatever that I'm going to share is coming from my understanding, my learning of this entire philosophy, because it's a philosophy. More than a tool, it is a philosophy. And second, what I would like to say, it is also coming from an experience that I had last year. And surprisingly, the coincidence is that I've been asked to give a talk on this when it's almost like a year over, when I have had certain very profound experience with this particular philosophy. So that is from the space that I'm coming from. Uh, and it's okay if some of you are skeptical, because it's probably not a philosophy that can be understood by intellect. So it's okay if some of you are skeptical and there are questions and there are doubts. That's perfectly all right. Um, because as I said, I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm just here to share what I know and what I have experienced from this particular philosophy. And uh, the only thing that puts me here to speak to such esteemed audience, because you've had some amazing speakers here. So the only, what should I say? The reason I think I can sit and speak about it is because I had a very, I would say, a profound and a powerful experience with this philosophy last year. And surprisingly, as I said, this is almost the same time last year that I actually had a very deep understanding of this particular tool, or this particular philosophy, as I would call it. And I will speak just a couple of minutes and then put on the slides, because that will just set the context for me to go ahead and speak about it. And the experience was last year when my husband had a very had a critical health issue. Uh, so I live in Bangalore, my husband lives in Mumbai, and my son lives in US, and all my other family members live in northern part of India. So we are all kind of spread all around the country, like many of you sitting here. So it was, and he has certain health conditions. He's a diabetic, and he has been having certain health issues for at least a year before that. So it was last year, and I very clearly remember it was a Friday that first he called, and it was, I think, exactly the same date or somewhere around this date only. I remember it was end of June. So, and I called him and he said, I'm not feeling well. I'm having some breathing issues and all that. And he's slightly asthmatic. And in Mumbai, in monsoon, it does get a little humid. So I thought it would be one of those things. And then next day I call and he says he's not gone to office and he's not feeling too well. And he's a person who works a lot. So he's not going to office itself was a very big deal for me. So I asked him, do you want me to come to Mumbai? He said, no, it's okay. I've asked one of the office boys to be with me in the guest house, because he stays in a guest house. I've told one of the boys to be with me because he's diabetic, sometimes low blood sugar, and something is happening. He thought somebody should be there with him in the room. So I said, fine. Then next day I call, he doesn't pick up the call. And after a couple of calls, his office boy picks the call and says, Sir ki tabiyat theek nahi hai. And he's not eating, he's not talking, he's just sleeping. So I asked him, should I come? And this was, I think, around 11 or 12 o'clock on Sunday morning. So he said, मैं आपको थोड़ी देर में बाकी लोगों से बात करके I will let you know whether you need to come or not. Then 4 o'clock I call and they're telling we are taking him to the hospital. I'm like, what happened? So they said he's not eaten anything. He's not. So I said fine. So then I didn't ask anything. I just asked his office to book a flight, and I took a flight. 5:30 I was out of the house. 8 o'clock flight I was supposed to take. It got delayed. 10:30. By the time I was doing all of this, I came to know he's already admitted to ICU. They are suspecting something more serious than only a breathing or any kind of a issue. And then I reached, I think 10:30, I reached, somebody from his office was waiting in a car. I go to the hospital. This was Nanavati Hospital in Mumbai. And I go to the hospital and they told we put him in ICU and we put him in isolation because we are suspecting swine flu. Now, I know in today's COVID time, swine flu seems milder probably, but last year swine flu was a big thing actually. And it was quite scary because he has underlying other issues that exist with him. And he was in isolation. I reached at 10:30 and As usual in any big hospitals, doctors don't respond, they don't say anything, they don't do anything. So I just go see him, he's there, there's a ventilator on, and it was quite a scary situation for me. I had told nobody except his brother who is in US. So he was the only person who knew that something like this was happening. So I stay outside because ICU, you are not allowed. So he was in an isolation ward and you're not allowed, obviously. So I was whole night sitting in the chair. And that's when I had been kind of using this tool for a while. Like any other tool, I have known this tool for the last 5 years, but I had not really delved into it. But over last couple of months, there was something that was telling me that I need to do something more there. So I had started almost using the philosophy from the moment I came to know that something is happening all the way. Whole night I was only saying the 4 statements of this particular philosophy, and that's how one morning spoke to doctor. Doctor said we've sent his samples and we'll know in a couple of days whether it is swine flu. They were doing whatever they were supposed to do, and then I go back to the guest house for rest, and somebody from his office is there. And surprisingly, for the last 6 months, I had been trying to hook on to. So I have been getting messages on Facebook about this particular certification program that Joe Vitale runs, what Janaki Raman sir was telling. And last 6 months, I was trying to register for the course, but it was not taking any credit card. I tried a US card, I tried my card, I tried quite a number of people's card, thinking that I don't know what's happening. I wrote to them asking them that is there any way I can register, because I felt I had to do that course. And last 6 months I was struggling. It was not happening. No credit card was working on that. And when during this time last year, when the next day morning I reached to the guest house, I take a bath and I had my breakfast. And again on Facebook, this message popped up. And just for the heck of it, I tried my credit card and it worked. Now, I don't know what it is, and I only call it something, and I felt this is what was meant to be, because 6 months I had been trying, nothing was working. That day I tried, the same card works, and I register for the course. And why I'm telling this, because this particular course, or what I learned in that time, what I experienced and the way I used it, actually helped me sail through that particular 15 days or 3 weeks. That was, I think, probably one of the most challenging times of my life till now. And it kept me strong, it kept me safe, because as we all know, swine flu is infectious. I was going in and out, I was there, all of those things were there. It kept me safe and it kept me sane, because under all those circumstances, and also including the fact that my husband, in addition to the medical issue, was going through his own stresses and strains related to his job, is this, is that, I can't go to office, you have taken away my phone. So he's actually behaving like a kid during all that particular time. So managing all of that, not having family around. So this is how I really understood the power of that tool. And that is why I thought I will share whatever I have learned, because I knew this 5 years ago, but the whole crux of it I understood only when I experienced this last year. So with that little bit of context, I will start. And yeah, so as I said, Ho'oponopono is a practice for love and forgiveness. There are 4 statements that we use in Ho'oponopono, and many of you would be aware of it. So, and we'll come to that in detail as we go along. My slide is not moving. Yeah, so it is a Hawaiian practice, which was initially taught by Morana Simona, who was a healer. She was a healer in Hawaii. Hawaii, as we know, is one of the states of US. It comes under a state, comes under US, but it is a set of 137 islands in the Pacific. And in addition to being more of a native kind of a place, it is also one of the very key, what should I say, army area, because it is a part of the Pacific. So she was the one who taught this particular Hawaiian practice, and she's a healer, what in Hawaiian they called kahuna. And in 1983, she was designated as a living treasure of Hawaii. And she also established something called the Foundation of Eye to promote this particular practice around the world. And it was in around that time that Dr. E. Halia Kalahulen first heard about this. So he was a trained psychologist. He had done his PhD, and he came to know about something that she was teaching and something that she was doing. And that's when he got in touch and attended her program for the first time. And he says, when I attended this workshop, her workshop for the first time, I actually thought she's talking something which is really beyond, because at that time he used to think he's still an intellectual, somebody who wanted to really understand what it is. And probably after a point you have to stop understanding this particular tool. So he says, I repeated the course 3 times, and then I said, to really get the meaning of this, I think I'm gonna join you. And that's how he stayed with Simona for 10 years till she passed away in 1992. And it was after she passed away that he kind of became the only person who spreads the word of Ho'oponopono across the world. And one of the amazing experiences that he had, and because of which he became more known, and because of which Joe Vitale got in touch with him, was from 1984 to 1987, he worked as a staff psychologist for Hawaii State Hospital, where he was in charge of a unit which had male criminals who were actually mentally disturbed. And it was not simple mental challenges. They were really some of those most violent kind of people who were kept in a very high security unit in the state hospital. And since he was a trained psychologist, he was made in charge of that. And when he went there for the first time, he and what all he saw, he thought that probably this is beyond me. But that was also the time that he was learning Ho'oponopono. He had started getting associated, and he had started discovering the power of this tool. So it was only very rarely that he went to the hospital, and there was no actual medical work that he did with these patients. So he used to sit in, he asked the hospital staff to give all the files related to these people. And he just went through their medical records. He stayed in his house. Very, very rarely he will go to the hospital. And he just kept doing the Ho'oponopono on these people. And the amazing thing that happened, that people started transforming there without any medical intervention, without any kind of counseling or psychiatric intervention. Nothing of that sort happened. But over a period of time, the whole energy of that particular security unit changed. So much so that after 3 years, the unit had to be shut down. It was no more required. And why? Because either some of the people had healed, or they had become little less so-called insane, and they were put into lighter units. So after 3 years, the whole unit is closed. And all that he did was use this practice of Ho'oponopono on them. And that's what was heard. It was seen as a healing miracle, and it got documented, and a lot of people started hearing about it and reaching out to him to help them out. And that's how he started his work with people. So that's when Joe Vitale also came to know about him. So Joe Vitale is somebody who's written a lot of books on the law of attraction and a lot of other things. He's kind of a spiritual entrepreneur in his own way. And it was around the 1990s that Joe Vitale came to know about Dr. Len as well as Ho'oponopono. And he approached him, and then together in 2000 they wrote this book which is known as The Zero Limits. It's a very interesting and a very powerful. And the first time when I read this book almost 5 or 6 years back, I still remember I was in Hyderabad with a friend, and I read this book and I finished it in one day. It was such an intriguing book to read. But as I said, the real crux I understood only now. And that was also the time that Dr. Hugh Len had somebody called Mabel Katz, who was training with Dr. Hugh Len. So, and she is basically a Jew from Argentina. And she was also somebody, I would say, very similar to me, because She was an accountant. She was a typical left brain person, more a spiritual gypsy, trying to see different modalities, but because things were not seemed to be working in her life. And that's when first time she came to know about Ho'oponopono, and she contacted Hew Len, and over a period of time she became his student, and for 10 years she worked with Hew Len. So Hew Len worked 10 years with Simona, and then Mabel Katz worked for 10 years with Dr. Hew Len. And once Dr. Hew Len retired, he's more or less kind of retired, she became the person who went on spreading his word onto other people. So what is Ho'oponopono? So Ho in Hawaiian means reason or a cause, and Ponopono means perfection. So the term Ho'oponopono actually can be translated into correcting a mistake or making whatever it is to right, or setting it back to perfection, because the Ho means the cause and the other is the perfection. So whatever is the cause or whatever is the mistake, making it right is what Ho'oponopono actually means by Hawaiian dictionary. If we go back to a little more older traditions in Hawaii, it was also actually used as a mental cleansing philosophy. So it was a very community kind of philosophy where families used to come and sit together, and they used to work on relationship issues with each other through prayer, through discussion, through forgiveness. And the interesting part was that till the issue was resolved, they would not go away, because they understood that if we leave it like that, it is going to create more problems. So it was more a community and a family kind of a thing that was there earlier, but over a period of time, because Hawaii also changed over a period of time, there was a lot of Chinese influence, a lot of British influence there, and then the Americans came. So Hawaiian culture also changed, and it kind of got transformed into more still a community philosophy, but more that people or individuals can use it onto themselves rather than it remaining only as a community cleansing tool. So that's what Ho'oponopono means. And just I'll briefly take you through the basic fundamental principles of Ho'oponopono as I have learned from Dr. Hew Len's um, content that we have been trained in part of our certification. So what it says that when we are born or when we are created by the divine, so basically there are three ways that we can exist. So 1, 2, and 3. So the first one is the zero, and that's why the name of the book is The Zero Limits. So first one is the zero, and zero is what we are when we are created by the divine, or when we just at the time of birth. That's zero. And zero is purity, zero is perfection, zero is also silence. So it's an absolute state of being. It just is. So that's the first phase in which we can exist at the time of birth, in a state of zero, in a state of perfection, in a state of wholeness, in a state of purity. All of that is the first state. Then there is, and I'll come to the second one a little later, then there is the third state, the human state. And the human state has what we call data or memories. Now this is the, as per Ho'oponopono, this is the reason that we have issues or challenges or situations or crises in our life, because over a period of time we collect what Dr. Hew Len calls garbage, and this is the memory that gets collected in us. This is the data that starts running our life. It is like that tape in our heads that keeps us doing certain things and bringing certain people into our life. And that's what he calls the memory. And that's the third state, or the human state. So what Ho'oponopono does is basically cleaning this memory. And by cleaning this memory, the eventual aim is to come to a space of zero or silence. But most of the time that is something very difficult to achieve, because to be in a state of zero memory is extremely difficult, because that normally happens only at the time of birth. But once we start cleaning this memory, then we can reach a state which is still information, but that information is coming to us not from our own memory or our own tapes or our own programming, but it is coming from infinite intelligence. It is coming from the divine. Even though it is still information, it is absolute information. And this is what in Ho'oponopono is called inspiration. So instead of memory, we start operating from inspiration. So it is not that we are adding something to ourselves. It's that we are removing those layers of memory that we accumulate over a period of time. And the moment those layers of memory start to be peeled off, that's when there are moments that something else comes, and that something else is inspiration, which is coming from the infinite intelligence. And the moment we start operating from this inspiration, then the whole situation and the circumstances and our relationships transform. And that's the basic fundamental of Ho'oponopono. The zero state and the memory state, and in between the inspiration state. So what he says that everything that is perfect in us is already existing in us. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to be anything. We don't have to achieve anything. It is already perfect in us, because that's the state that we were born with, the state of zero, the absolute. But over a period of time, we just kind of keep accumulating things. So that's how it works. So as per Ho'oponopono, there is only me and there is only memories. There is nothing else beyond that. So me and my memories is what creates the drama in my life, what creates the situations in my life, what creates the problems in my life. And it's only about that tape that plays inside of me. And the moment those memories get cleansed or erased, as it is called, the inspiration can come in. So one of the questions that is very often asked, every time there is a problem, we are there. And still we think the problem is outside of ourselves. Because every time if there is a problem and I am there, then obviously I am part of the problem. The problem is not coming to me from something outside of me. So everything that's happening to me is happening because of me. And that is probably one of the most difficult things to kind of accept and acknowledge in this entire whole concept. So when Dr. Hewlin was asked that how did you heal the people? How did you heal those patients who were there in that ward of insanity for tens and tens of years? And there were patients there who were there for many, many years. In fact, their families had forgotten them. People had forgotten that they were part of it. How did you heal them, that too within a couple of years? So what he said was that I didn't heal them. I healed a part of myself that had created them. Because everything that is happening outside is because of me. There is some memory inside of me that is playing, that is creating whatever that I am seeing outside. So it's not about healing somebody, or it's not about talking to somebody. It's not about counseling somebody. It is only every time I have to ask myself, what is in it? What is in me that is creating this problem? And we don't need to get an answer. The only thing we can do is clean. And the whole crux of this particular tool or this concept or philosophy of Ho'oponopono is taking 100% responsibility. Taking 100% responsibility of the fact that whatever is happening because of me. So anything, any situation, it could be a situation at work, it could be situation at home, it could be situation with health. for any situation that we are going through, the one question that we can ask ourselves is, what is going on in me that I am experiencing this? And just a caveat that responsibility is not blame or guilt. Responsibility is owning that I am the one who is creating this. Because the moment I own, then there is something I can do about it to actually change it. It is difficult, but it is also liberating in its own way. Because then I don't have to wait for anything outside to change. I can only go about doing that. And this for me was the toughest part in the entire experience that I was talking about at the start of this particular session. So when my husband was going through this health challenge, the only question I asked myself, how am I responsible for it? He is going through something because of his own, the way he manages his health, or because he was a bit careless, or he came in touch with somebody who had an infectious disease, whatever it was. Now, in that whole story, probably this acceptance was the most difficult for me. How am I responsible for this entire situation? But the point is, it is not responsibility for the situation. It is the responsibility that I am experiencing whatever that I'm experiencing related to this particular situation. And that's what 100% responsibility means. And it's not blame, it's not guilt. It is taking charge, getting out of the victim mode and saying, okay, there is something in me that is creating this. And the only way I can correct is through using the Ho'oponopono. So in a way, it is simple and it is also complex. It is very simple because all we have to do is use these cleaning phrases. And the cleaning phrase is, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. That's all we have to do. And we don't need explanations, we don't need logic, we don't need intellect. That's all. For every situation that we come across, for every interaction that we come across with people we have challenges with, all we can do is clean. And the cleaning is these 4 phrases. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. And how does it work? So the I love you is the petition to the divinity. It's a request. Like in Christianity, they say, ask and it shall be given. So like that, it is a petition to the divinity that I am going through something and I'm seeking help or I'm seeking support. The next 2 phrases, I'm sorry and please forgive me, is asking and receiving forgiveness. Asking forgiveness for creating something that I'm not even aware of, for playing a role in accumulating or working with subconsciously allowing the memories to rule my life. So that's what we are seeking forgiveness. And then the gratitude, because we operate from a space of trust, saying that once that petition goes, the answer will come or the issue will be resolved. So it's like an advanced gratitude that I'm offering to the divinity. And when we do that, that's when transmutation happens. That means what was memory now gets cleaned and goes back to 0. And then that's when grace comes into our life. That's when inspiration comes into our life. And that's the whole thing. So in a way, it's very simple, but in a way, it's complex because owning responsibility sometimes is so difficult because our ego gets in the way, because our intellect gets into the way, because our conscious thinking gets into the way. And all the memories are actually in our subconscious. And that's why if we just believe and we trust and we do without asking too many ifs and whys and questions, it works. And I have seen the power. I have actually experienced, and I had experienced it I'm sure like some of you would have used it and would have experienced it, but that amazing experience that I had and the whole process that I went through. And why I'm saying this, because when this whole thing happened, the doctor said that even if we would have been a couple of hours late, the whole situation would have been different. From that to next 2-3 months, the whole journey was very difficult for us as a family. But by the grace of divinity, all was well. And that also does not mean that other issues are not there. Other issues still exist. And they exist probably because I've still not cleansed certain memories that are creating that. So how does this actually work? So I've kind of tried to explain it with a small diagram. Still that engineer stays inside me, so diagrams are always good. So there is a me, and there is a, it can be any X. The X can be a situation, the X can be a person, X can be just about anybody. So there is a subconscious, there is a conscious, and then there is a super conscious, which is the spirit or the soul, or whatever we want to call it. And I'm using these terms not from a religious perspective, but from a little larger spiritual context. We can call it whatever we want to call it. So whenever I have an interaction with, say, a X person, and there is some issue between me and the X, it is always because of that there is a shared memory between both of us, or it could be memories. And these memories need not necessarily be from this life. They can be from past lives, they can be from generations, they can be from my ancestors, they could be from the country that I am living in. It could be multiple set of things. So there is a shared memory, and that is what is creating problem between us.
These things they change everything last name.
Oh,
so
okay. And you're not really consulted.
Okay, can we mute?
Please mute yourselves while the presentation is on.
Thank
Carry
you.
on, Suparna.
Yes. So there is a shared memory between us. And from my conscious, I say, I love you. And that's my petition. So whenever I say, I love you, it does not directly go to the divinity. It comes to the subconscious. So it doesn't go up, it comes down. So it comes to my subconscious, ruffles the memory. It kind of shakes it like a stone in a pond or something. It shakes, and whatever of that memory has to be released, or whatever is creating the problem between me and the X, goes up, and it goes up to the superconscious, and from the superconscious it goes to the divinity. So divinity listens to it, says, okay, the person is willing to take 100% responsibility. He or she is saying, I love you, seeking request, repeating these statements, and that's when magic happens. So in Hawaiian, it is known as mana or energy. So divine energy flows to me and flows to the X. And it reaches the subconscious of the X and the me and erases the memory. It purifies, and the memory in both of us is released. And that's how the shared connection goes away. And that's how the problem is solved. So from the conscious to the subconscious, from subconscious to the superconscious, from superconscious to the divinity, from the divinity, mana or healing energy comes, erases the memory, and it's done. It is purified. So now either the issue between the two people would be resolved, or the person or the situation will go out of my life. Because what was there common between both of us is now gone. So the person will no more be a part of my life, or if the person is still a part of my life, there won't be any problems related to it. And it's not one memory, it can be multiple thousands of memories that exist. So it is not that once if I do this, it is done. It is a continuous process. So Dr. Hewlin says that it is almost like breathing. We don't stop breathing, so we shouldn't stop the cleaning process. It has to go on and on, because within the environment that we live, we don't know with whom, what shared memories we have. And it is these probably the shared memories that are creating so many issues and situations for us as humanity also. Because as humanity also, we have a shared memory consciousness. And that's what the whole concept is. So why the conscious? Because conscious is the one which makes the choice. Am I willing to take 100% responsibility? Am I willing to use the erasing tools? And why I'm saying tools, because we'll see that there are more tools that we can use. Am I willing to make the choice to work on myself and release this particular memory? And that's the only purpose of the conscious, to make that choice, what we call free will. And even the divinity cannot help us if we don't make that choice. Because divinity is always ask first and then only it will be given to us. The only thing that we need to remember is we need to trust. The answer may not come in the form that we want it to come. And sometimes the answer may take a little while, but it will come. Because the moment the memories are clean, inspiration comes. And it also doesn't mean that I will not take action where action is required. For example, if I am having a legal situation with somebody, that doesn't mean I just sit in my chair and a full day I do just Ho'oponopono. No. If I have to meet a lawyer, if I have to take some action, I need to do that. Because that's what 100% responsibility is about. But the only magic that happens is that when I'm doing it, taking that action along with the cleansing, then I will get the best lawyer. I will see smoothness in the resolution, because and everything that I say and do is coming from inspiration. So even when there is conflict between two people doesn't mean I just do that and I don't take any action. I take action, but the action is coming from inspiration. It is not coming from my programmed habits. It is not coming from my tracks that already exist in my head. It is not coming from memory. So I may choose to remain silent because that's what inspiration is telling me to do. Or I may actually use the appropriate right words that will resolve the issue. So that is something that we need to remember. Yes, action is required at times, but along with the action, if we do cleaning, so then action does not come from memory and programming. It does not come from our own limiting beliefs and thoughts and idea, but it comes from inspiration. It comes from divine intelligence. And that's what makes it work like magic. In relationships, there's the specific 4 lines that we can actually start with, because as per this philosophy, all of us are whole and complete and born as perfect at 0. It is only when we start accumulating the memories that we start creating stories around each other. You are like this, he is like this, she is like this. We start putting blame, we start putting judgments. So it is not that the person has been created like this. It is we who create that person in our head like that, based on our past experiences, based on our memory. So in relationships, the 4 statements that we can use, and we don't need to keep saying them over and over again. We can say them once, have that intention, and then just use any other tool, which I'll just come to in a couple of minutes. So I love you as the pure energy you are, because each one of us is pure energy. We are all 0. And I'm sorry for co-creating you into this, because that is whatever that I'm seeing of you is not who you are. I am seeing of you because this is the tape playing in my head. So I have created you like this, and I'm sorry for that. I seek forgiveness because I have disfigured you from 0 and a pure and a perfect soul, a whole and complete individual, to sometimes a monster. That's what we sometimes create people into. And thank you for showing up in my life now so that I can heal. Because when I heal, the situation automatically heals. So one of the things that we need to remember here is that when we have problem, or somebody comes to me with a problem, I don't need to reach out to that person and say, okay, start using Ho'oponopono. That person has come into my life and sharing this with me because I am supposed to heal something within myself. It's always me. I am having this experience, or I am listening to this incident, or I am being sought advice because there is something in me that needs the healing. So Dr. Hewlin says that Ho'oponopono is not a tool that you teach to others. And that's why I said I'm not a teacher, I'm just sharing my experience. Because every time I go through an experience or every time I encounter a situation, it's always me. And it's always me that I need to do the healing on. So Dr. Hewlin did not go to the people or to the administrative staff or to the doctors in the ward, and he did not teach them Ho'oponopono. He only did it on himself because he understood that that experience is happening because of him, because there was something in him that needed the healing. And that's how we work in the relationship. And that is because we are all for one and one for all. We are all connected. We are all connected through memories. And if one of us clears those common memories, all of us get healed in the process. And that's why one of the things he says is all for one and one for all. So when we are all zero, or when we are all operating from infinite intelligence, we are one. But within that all also, if one of us takes 100% responsibility and works on himself or herself, all of us who are related with that one common memory get healed. And just taking it a little further, Dr. Hewlin also says that these actually can be, he says even non-living things has memories. Now, I'll not talk much about it, but that's what he says. So he has had conversations with aircrafts, with tables, with room, with the earth, all kinds of things, because everything he says has memories, and we are all connected with each other through those memories. So Mabel Katz has written a book which is called The Easiest Way. And so Ho'oponopono over a period of time has evolved. And that evolution has happened because Dr. Hewlin says that he has been working on this tool for 25, 30 years now. And there are many times when he is directly connected to the divine intelligence or the infinite intelligence. And then that's when he gets certain easier tools for us to start using so that we can use the power of Ho'oponopono the max. So what it says is that among the 4 lines, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you, any line will work. But it's always good when we start a process, we can start with the 4 lines and we can start with I love you. And after that, only the thank you will also work. So just saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's like the delete key for our memories. Like our computers have a delete key. It works exactly like that. And the delete key does not ask you whether you are in good mood or whether you believe or you don't believe. Delete just deletes. So it's okay even if you do with a little bit of skepticism. It's absolutely all right. It will still delete. So just saying thank you is enough. And when I was last year, I used to just sit in the hospital because 1 week I was outside. The person is in ICU. I have nothing much to do except talk to doctors and do a little bit of the. So 70 to 80%, all I used to do is on paper, keep writing thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's all I did. And after a point, people there started seeing me and I probably were thinking this, she's a crazy lady. Because after a time, you see the same people over and over again. So that's how it is. And it works. So and that's why it is called The Easiest Way. The book also is by that name, The Easiest Way. But the only thing we need to do is letting go. I think which is the really difficult part of it. So letting go and letting God. So we let go of our issues, we let go of our challenges, and we offer it to divinity. And then whatever the divinity offers to us, we are willing to receive. So letting go and letting God is the principle on which it operates. So there are some other cleaning tools that we can use in addition to the statements that I have spoken about. So the 4 statements are one, then only using thank you is good. Even the word Hawaii. So Dr. Hewlin say, even the word Hawaii has a certain cleaning energy. So even if we say the word Hawaii, it is a cleaning tool. Eraser is a cleaning tool. And some of the other cleaning tools that he talks about is bluebell flower. So even if we don't have the flower, if we say bluebell, it's a cleaning tool. Blueberries are very powerful cleaning tools for negative and psychic energies. So eating a couple of blueberries in a day is a cleaning tool. Then corn is considered to be a very powerful cleaning tool, because corn, as they say, has those whiskers and those things which actually are like antennas reaching to the divine intelligence. And we can eat corn in any, even if we say the word maize, it's a cleaning tool. It's a tool that erases memories. So we can eat corn in any form. It can even be corn chips, which are very popular these days. And we don't need to consume a lot of it. Even a little bit of it is a cleaning tool. It goes inside us and it erases the memories automatically. And we don't need to know what is being erased or what is happening. All that logic we don't need to know. One of the other very powerful tools which I actually use it all the time is what is known as the blue solar water. So we take a blue glass bottle like this, and it is very commonly available on Amazon, and we fill it with normal water and then keep it in the sun for half an hour to 45 minutes. And that's when the water gets kind of charged, or there's a transmutation that happens in the water. And using this water, drinking this water itself is a cleaning tool. And we don't need to drink too much of water. We can put a few drops of it in anything that we are using, be it our cooking, be it our chai, be it just about anything. And that's, as per Dr. Len, is a very powerful, and these are things that he has got through inspiration, because these tools did not exist earlier. So just saying ice water is a cleaning tool, dew drops is a cleaning tool, using an eraser itself is a cleaning tool. So these are the cleaning tools that can be used. Then there's a very powerful Ha meditation, and Ha in Hawaiian, and that's why he says that Hawaii itself is a cleaning tool, because Hawaii has Ha in it. So Ha is the breath of divinity. And I don't think we have time to do the meditation, but I'll just explain how the meditation goes. It is a very powerful meditation for cleaning negative energy, for cleaning. Sometimes it happens that because we live in a world there where, if we go by the spiritual principles, there are different kind of energies that are available in this world, different kinds of souls that exist. So it is a powerful tool to protect us from all of those negative and psychic energies. And how this meditation works is that we take an in breath, and as we are taking the in breath, we count from 0 to 10. So we take an in breath, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we pause, and we take up, while we are taking the pause, we count again from 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then an out breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then again a pause. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's one cycle. So 1 to 10 during the in breath, 1 to 10 at the pause. In the out breath, again 1 to 10, and then again 1 to 10, pause. And if we do it for 10 rounds, and it doesn't take more than 5 minutes to do this. If we do it for 10 rounds, it's a very, very powerful cleaning tool. And why 10? Because in Hawaiian, 10 is completion. So when we do this, we have kind of completed a cycle of erasing some of those very deep memories that can exist in us. And he especially says that whenever we are traveling or whenever we are crossing seas, this is a powerful meditation tool do. We are not doing that in any of those things right now, but yeah. But if and when we start doing that, this is a very, very powerful tool for that. So that's all that I had to share about Ho'oponopono. There's a small last prayer, which is the Morana's prayer, which I'll read out. And this is like a prayer which kind of cuts cords that I have with those cords of memories that I may be holding on with families, with ancestors, with a lot of things. So I'll just read this prayer out loud. Divine Creator, Father, Mother, Son as one. If I, my family, relatives, and ancestors have offended you, your family, relatives, and ancestors in thoughts, words, deeds, and actions from the beginning of our creation to the present, we ask your forgiveness. Let this cleanse, purify, release, cut all negative memories, blocks, energies, and vibrations, and transmute these unwanted energies into pure light. And it is done. So that's all I had to share about Ho'oponopono. So just a quick recap. We are all perfect. We all come from zero. It's only the memories that create issues and challenges in our lives, or bring certain people and experiences into our life, or bring also certain health issues in our life. And it's always because of me. And the moment I take 100% responsibility about whatever is happening in my life and erase and clean, the challenges and issues can go away. Miracles can happen. And the only thing we need to do is let go and let God. And that's the whole principle. So thank you very much. That's all I had to share. I'll stop my share. And if there are any questions, you can go ahead and ask. And thank you very much once again for giving me this opportunity. I'll stop the share.
Any questions? Thank you so much, Suparna. I'd like to use 2 of your statements. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And now we will have questions on the chat, or you can ask them.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes, Diti.
Yes.
I wanted to know what this blue solar water is. I didn't get it.
Okay. Okay, sure. So we take a blue colored, dark blue colored, exactly what I had shown in my slide.
Yeah.
A dark blue colored glass bottle.
Yeah.
Okay, with that kind of a lid. It is something very specific. But even if we don't get it, should not be a glass lid. Is what.
Okay.
Okay. And then we fill it with water.
Okay.
And put it in the sun for half an hour to 45 minutes.
Okay.
Put it in the sunlight. If we don't have sunlight, we can put it not in tube light, but in bulb light.
Okay. For half an hour.
Half an hour to 45 minutes.
Huh.
And that's how the water gets transmuted and it becomes a cleaning tool.
Okay. When you drink it.
You drink it, you can put it in your cooking, you can just do anything. When you're taking a bath, you can put a few drops of it in that water. You can just do about anything with it.
Okay.
And it becomes a cleaning tool.
Okay. Thank you.
Most welcome.
There's one more question on the chat. It says, there's a question which says, can we liken memories to karma?
Yes, we can. But most of the time for karma, we say that we are born with a certain karma. Whereas one of the principles in Ho'oponopono says that when we are born, we are at zero. That means we are not carrying anything at that moment there. And that's the only difference. But yes, the principles remains the same. That means there are certain programming that we are carrying, and that programming itself is creating the problem in our life. But it is not exactly same, but yeah, similar, I would say.
Okay. Any more questions?
Suparna, I have a question. Umesh here.
Yes, please. Yes.
Umesh.
Suparna, I have a question here. Very good evening. There's a on a later vein, there's a beautiful song sung by Sridevi, Hawa Hawaii.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
about using that?
Absolutely, this is a beautiful idea actually. You can use that.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Just on a later vein,
I
please.
have a question.
absolutely. And one more thing I'll add before the next question is that Dr. Hewlin says that whenever we are using these tools, we might get inspiration to have our own tools, and it's perfectly all right. Because the moment we start erasing the memories, we get connected to infinite intelligence, and then something might come to you. Maybe I can use a broomstick. Who knows? Maybe that inspiration might come, and suddenly we feel okay. That's how the cleaning is happening. So it can be your very own personal tools also. So there is no right and wrong here. There is no right tool, wrong tool. Whatever seems most appropriate to you, whatever works well for you, you're most welcome to use it. So if this has come
Madam,
to you, you can very well go ahead and do that.
madam, is it like distant healing?
It is
Ma'am,
not.
I have a question
It is
here, ma'am.
healing me, healing my
One
own
at a time.
Yeah, I would like to know, in pranic healing, they
Yes.
do distant healing.
Yes.
So is it more or less like that?
So
Cleansing and distant healing, is it like that?
we can. So I know a little about pranic healing, so I don't know too much, so I will not comment on that. But the only thing I will say here is that this is not healing anybody else. It's only healing me. So it is not.
Okay.
It is not healing X or Y. The only thing that
Okay.
I'm healing is the memories in me. The only thing I'm erasing is the memories on me. So all the healing is to me only. It's not to
Okay,
anybody
okay.
else. Yeah. So that's the difference.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank
Somebody
you.
else had a question.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Please go ahead.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Ma'am, how we can heal fear using Opono?
So anything that you are feeling, if you connect with that feeling or that situation and just start using these what should I say, cleansing tools or the statements, it could just be I love you. So it is, we may not get an answer how, but you will see that something in you will change.
Okay.
So it is specific to the situation, or for example, right now we are all feeling fear for the pandemic, right? We are all scared, especially when we are hearing so many things that are happening in Bangalore. We are all scared. So whenever I think of that situation and I get into that feeling, I can start using those 4 phrases. Or I can just start saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's all. Now, how it goes, what happens, but it will go. It will work. It's magic on it. So keeping that situation in mind, we can keep repeating these statements, or we can use any of the other cleansing tools that we have spoken about.
Yes, ma'am.
that's
Thank
all.
you, ma'am.
So
Thank
Parna,
you
there
so
are
much.
2 more questions on the chat. Someone wants to know about the blue flowers and to see that slide again. There are 2 questions on the chat.
Okay. I will share my screen again.
I also want to ask one thing. Do we have to mean while saying all those 4 sentences?
Do we have to? No,
Mean,
not
like we have to
necessarily.
feel
No.
sorry.
No. We don't need to mean it at all. But
Okay, thank you.
if we mean it, it will work better. That's all.
Ma'am, does it have to be addressed to anybody?
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be addressed to anybody, because all you are doing is healing yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can keep that particular situation or that particular person in your mind when you're doing the healing.
Sure.
So it is specific. If it is specific to a situation or a person or a fear or a health issue, then you can keep that issue in your mind and do the healing. So if I'm going through this, the question we can ask is, if I'm going through this, what is in me that is creating this? And then say, okay, I don't need the answer, but all I do is clean. And then do the healing.
Sure.
That's all.
Yeah,
That's how it works.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this. Thank you for enlightening us.
Thank you so much. It is my pleasure, but I am somehow not able to go to my slide. It's gone.
That's okay. So
Yeah.
Parna, then just tell her about the blue flower.
So the flower is basically, it is a bluebell flower. So you don't need to have the flower. It's only, even if you say the word bluebell, it is a cleaning tool. So the color blue is somehow highly associated with as a cleansing tool. So if you look at ice water, the blue solar water, the blueberries, the bluebell flower, all of it is blue in color. That's why I chose to wear a blue also.
Good.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yes?
Yes, sure, go ahead.
Yes.
There's a contradiction which is causing some confusion to me.
Sure, sure. If I can answer it. Yes,
You said that we all come with memories and we try and erase those memories by asking forgiveness, love, etc.
Correct.
Now, these memories can be from some earlier life as well?
They can be.
They can be, okay. But you also said that we come with a clean slate.
Correct.
So that is the contradiction.
When we are born, so clean slate means when we are born whole and complete and with no garbage inside of us. But as we go along, based on the people that we come across, based on the family that we are part of, the memories start coming back. The memories start building. Yeah.
I get that, but what about the memories of your previous lives?
So they will come. So for example, I'll just say this, and I'm not, I may probably give you an answer or not give you an answer. I'm not sure. The only thing I can say is many times it happens that in this lifetime, I will remember only one past life. Now, why is that? That is happening because in this lifetime, I have come across that X number of people who are bringing back those memories for me. I was born 0, but now those memories have come back to me because I'm interacting with those people. Now, maybe in a next lifetime, I may have a whole different set of past memories that come back to me. So it is that process that happens. And it is not that when I'm one, the memories start building. The memories can start building even when we are very small. But the moment we are born, we are 0. And then we slowly start accumulating. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've answered you, and I'm glad somebody's skeptical because it will also force me to dig a little
I'm
deeper.
just trying to understand.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Thanks for that question.
Okay. Any more questions? I think there's one question on the chat.
The blue bottle
Suparna.
cap should be.
Pardon?
Suparna, I just wanted to know the cap of blue bottle. Like it should be plastic one or something else.
It should not be a typical plastic one. Better if it is a metal cap. That's what it is. But even if it is plastic, it's okay. It's fine. It's not something that you have to really worry about. But exactly the same bottle is available on Amazon. The picture that I showed, so I can probably send you the a click or something on the group. I can just send it across.
Ma'am, one small clarification.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you very much for your such wonderful concept that you have explained. Thank you very much for that.
Thanks, sir.
I just wanted to know how it is different from the general meditation that we do. We sit in a common meditation, like we sit alone and make ourselves free from all those.
Sure.
How it is different from that? Just wanted your input, ma'am.
Sure. So, see, any of the philosophies, if you look at, most of them finally come to the point that we need to forgive people and we need to love people. So I think that is something that is common across whenever any philosophy you take. But one thing that is different here is that in meditation, we are actually trying to quieten our mind. That's what mostly we do. But here, the crux of the whole story is 100% responsibility.
Okay.
That whatever is happening in my life is because of me, and that I think probably is the toughest part of this whole thing. Because there are sometimes such events that happen in our life where we say, how the hell I am responsible for this? I'm not.
Okay.
So that is the only difference, that I'm actually working on the issue, whereas in meditation I'm actually quietening myself a lot and then allowing things to go.
So maybe we are standby meditation, we are keeping that as a standby. And in this, we are deleting everything from our memory.
Absolutely. Right? We are deleting the memories. It's like erasing your hard disk, no? We format our hard disk. This is like formatting your hard disk.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you.
Suparna, there are about 4 questions. There's one person who says, Dear Suparna, can we do Ho'oponopono for someone who has passed away?
So again, I will reiterate the point. We don't do Ho'oponopono for somebody. We do it for ourselves, for whatever that passing on is creating in me. So if the passing on is creating pain in me, then I heal myself from that pain using those cleaning philosophy. So it's never for anybody else. It's always on me. So that is, so if that passing away is creating certain block or certain emotions in me, so I erase those emotions using the tool and I heal myself.
Hi, Suparna.
Yes.
My name is Shumal. I asked that question.
Yes.
I just wanted a quick clarification. What if that person's relationship was difficult? What if that was something that had not been cleared and the person can you still do Ho'oponopono?
Yes, we can actually. But
okay,
the thing is, we are not doing for that person. We are doing it on ourselves. That's the only thing. We can still do it.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
One more question, Suparna. Can we all heal the COVID situation together? What if one were to meditate and say these lines in our minds so as to heal all of humanity?
Absolutely. I wish we would all get together and do that. But the point is, if we look at the COVID situation, and I was thinking about it. So if you look at the COVID situation, there is an entire memory bank of human consciousness that is creating this situation for us, because it's we who are experiencing the situation. But again, if you look at, go a little next layer, even in this entire, whatever the humankind is experiencing, each one of us is experiencing the situation differently, because we also have individual memories of it. So yes, we can do the collective cleaning, but if we at least clean ourselves for this situation, for whatever that situation is creating in me, the situation may still exist, but it will take away some of the problems that are expected or that we are scared of from our own lives or lives of people around us with whom we interact. And if a lot of us do it, probably it might have a far-reaching effect. Yes, we can absolutely do it.
Another one. Do plants and trees also have memories like tables, chairs, etc.? Someone has sent in this question.
Yes. So as per Dr. Hewlin, though I haven't experienced this, I haven't explored this, but as per Dr. Hewlin, and that's what I was saying, everything living or non-living has memories. Because if you look at table and chair, where has the wood come from? From a plant. Now that plant was part of a certain country, from a certain land. Something would have happened in that land, and that plant also has memories of those events. So everything has memories. If we get, even if we think of something as simple as a bread, now the bread is being prepared by somebody somewhere. There are certain memories that get attached to it. So as to what he says, it is everything has memory. But somehow I think that's little too far reaching. If I can work on my life, my people around me, at least, okay, some sanity will come in my life.
The next one, how to heal emotional turmoil and abuse pain created from childhood.
Yeah, so there is something also known as there's a lot of inner child work that is also part of this particular philosophy. And there is a inner child meditation that Dr. Hewlin has shared. It is available on YouTube. If you give inner child healing meditation, Ho'oponopono, you will get that. So that is a very powerful tool for, because any of childhood abuse is something that is staying in my subconscious and with my inner child. So if we work on that, then probably there are chances that we may be able to heal it. And even if we don't use that, just thinking of that situation and the pain that it is creating in me, if I use those tools, if I use the cleaning phrases, or if I use any of those cleaning tools, it will have an impact. So my only invitation would be that the more we try to understand it from intellect, we will not get it, because this is not something we can really understand. Experiment with it. If it works, and I know it works, it's not my experience, it is experience of a lot of people, not only here but a lot of people across the world. So experiment and experience this and see if it makes a difference. And there is lot of content that is available on the internet also. But this inner child healing meditation is very powerful. I can probably also send it to ma'am, and ma'am can circulate it in the group.
Yes, we will circulate it. A lot of people have been asking for one of the prayer, one of the slides. So do send it to us, Suparna. The last question that we have: what time lag after we resort to Ho'oponopono in seeing its effect?
Oh, that's a difficult one. That's a difficult one because we cannot control divinity. We can't ask God, no, I want my answer by Tuesday evening. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, so it will work, but we have to be patient. We have to be trusting, and we have to just keep doing the cleaning because the divinity works the way it works. And
Namaste.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, please,
yes, go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much. It was a refresher for me. It was a very nice refresher. I know that Ho'oponopono can be used for other areas, not just relationships. It could be used for health and abundance. And
yes.
So what is the technique when you are addressing health or abundance or other areas that you use to heal it?
Basically, as to my understanding, the basic philosophy and the principle remains the same. And we can keep using the phrases that we are using. But there are certain specific phrases that we can use with money. There's specific phrases that we can use with health. Right? But most of the time, if we just keep saying thank you, having the situation in our mind, it actually works.
Okay, so we think of the situation and we do it.
Yes, and the thing is that, for example, when I think of money, so normally we say, oh, money is not happening because my job is not good, because no, it is not happening because of something in me which is creating this challenge with money. That is something that we need to keep in mind, and then thinking of the situation, use any of the cleaning tools and it works. But if you want to look at certain other specific tools, they are available on the internet, but generally I just use any of these very common phrases or tools. For me, like even now, if you see, I have these thank you, which I'll just sit somewhere, just keep writing, and it just works.
So you think of the situation and then you just say the four phrases.
Four phrases. Yeah. And you can actually say the four phrases once, and then you can just say thank you.
Okay.
Just saying the thank you, keeping repeating it, it works.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I think
I have one question.
Okay.
One last question. Okay. Suparna, you talked about the Ha meditation, and we didn't actually, I didn't get it. When do you actually say Ha? At any point, do you breathe out Ha, or do you say Ha?
No, we don't say Ha. We only, no. Ha is the name of the meditation, and the Ha is the divine breath. So we actually, when we are doing the 1 to 10, we do it on the in, then pause, then again out. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay.